Chapter 66, Florida man trainee warned not to insert fingers into electric outlet, gets electrocuted. I have nothing to teach you, Leo rejected Wu Bai's request. Then, can I observe you when you concoct new pills? Wu Bai negotiated. Fine, I'm working on one right now. Go take a look if you want, but don't disturb me. Thank you very much, master. Wu Bai smacked his forehead to the ground. He was so overjoyed that he cried. However, the alchemist was greedy by nature. After getting an inch, he wanted a foot. One more request, master. Can I bring the disciples from the sect to learn from you? Leo rolled his eyes. Do whatever you want. Yes, master. Ha 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 ha. Wu Bai was delighted. He immediately dashed toward the second alchemy workshop, where the alchemy automaton had been working on the hope and dream pills. Leo sighed. In the end, he took in Wu Bai as a subordinate. Although they didn't officially agree to it, their statuses already changed that way. After Wu Bai was not in sight, Leo resumed working. He rechecked the remaining lifespan and buildable structures. So far, Leo spent 20,000 years of lifespan on the native auto-speech translation feature so that he could understand the locals outside the shop domain. Then, he upgraded the store and the second workshop twice, costing him 13,000 years of lifespan. This didn't include the cost of the recycling center and its upgrade 6,500 years in total. Current lifespan, 51,731 years. Once again, the investment was money-sinking, but Leo enjoyed doing so. After all, this was the only entertainment he had in this world. Let's go. I want the most expensive building first. Mystic Realm Portal. Requirement: Humble General Store Level 7. Price: 10,000 years of lifespan. Space: 20 by 20. As this structure demanded a lot of space, Leo picked the empty area west of the farmlands and granary. Coincidentally, it was at the southwest corner of the domain. Ding. Activating the cleaning feature. Half of the natural resources will be sent to the recycling center. Although some of the trees hadn't been cleared in the area, the system automatically removed them. Half of the vanished trees reappeared in the junkyard due to the cleaning feature. Rumble. As usual, the ground elevated, creating a concrete foundation of a platform. An oval ring frame of blue steel manifested from nothingness and hovered above the platform's center. The central axis of the oval steel remained in place, but the wings began to rotate, producing strange energy at the center of the ring. Natural chi gathered in the center of the platform. Then, 4 pillars emerged from the concrete ground, becoming the 4 scorpion tail obelisks, pointing at the rotating ring. Whoosh! The structure continued to charge its energy. Blue light gathered, and a beacon of blue light shot up from the ring to the sky. Wow! Leo admired the scene, thinking of it as a firework or a light show. He also clapped his hands for it. However, admiring it wouldn't change anything. Leo approached his new toy and touched the scorpion tail obelisk, wondering what it was for. Mystic Realm Portal Level 1. Entry limit: person. 1/10. Portal cooldown reduction: 0/5. Portal duration: 0/5. Next destination: unknown low plane. Upgrade: 10,000 years of lifespan. Status: ready to open. Leo almost vomited blood when he noticed the upgrade cost. Instead of 1,000 years of lifespan per level, the portal required 10,000. The upgradable things here were self-explanatory. Still, Leo touched every panel to see the explanation. Entry limit: the number of people allowed to enter the portal at a time. Portal cooldown: after activation, the portal will undergo a maintenance cooldown. Without the reduction, the average cooldown is 80 to 90 days. Each upgrade decreases the cooldown time by 10%. Portal duration: the length of the active portal. Once a portal is opened, it will remain open for 10 days. Upgrading this section increases the length by 5 days per level. Next destination: indicate the next destination that the portal will link to. The destinations cannot be chosen as it generates randomly. A low-level portal can only find low-tier mystic realms, while a high-level one can send you to demon realms or immortal realms. Leo nodded in approval. By having this, Leo had something to look forward to. Current lifespan: 41,731 years. Looking at the remaining lifespan, Leo started calculating. He counted his fingers, counting the number of buildings that he needed to upgrade. HAREM. This is impossibly HOWW? Leo heard a certain someone's voice from behind the store. It seemed that Wu Bai had a heart attack or something similar. He shrugged and continued working. At night, Leo finished upgrading the essential buildings. The first alchemy workshop, warehouse, granary, and 2 farm plots were raised to level 7, costing him 10,000 years of lifespan. The next investment was the third alchemy workshop. He erected it next to the second workshop. Leo didn't care what Wu Bai might think about it since he had no time to check his reactions. He upgraded it to level 7 like the others as well, and he also raised the pill quality to level 5. As for 2 additional points, he put 1 in automaton and 1 in pill quantity each. After dumping 7,000 years of lifespan for the pill factory, Leo built another farm plot next to the first farm. Using the alchemy workshop as a template, Leo allocated the points of all farms the same way. Basic farmland level 7. Automaton farmer 1/1 max. Growth speed level 0/5. Svel.Siamacron production quality level 5/5 max. Production quantity level 1/5. Upgrade 1,000 years of lifespan. I think you should take a look at. 3 automatons rose up from the ground, and they began working by themselves. They used the seeds that Leo had stored in the granary to sow the lands, and they carried tools to do their jobs. Leo left them alone as the resource shortage wouldn't be a problem in the future. The only issue was the limited worker slot, as one automaton might not be able to harvest everything on their own, which was why Leo needed helping hands from Life Sword Sect. Current lifespan 27,731 years. After making sure the production factories operated, Leo turned his attention to the welfare of his future employees. Small house. Requirement humble general store level 4. Price 500 years of lifespan. Space 5x5. Leo was reluctant to build this, but he did it anyway. He built all 3 available small houses and erected them east of the general store. That day, Leo designated the eastern part of his domain as the residential area. Although the granary was nearby, he didn't care as he could spend his lifespan to move it elsewhere like in a simulation game. After the 3 buildings appeared, Leo stopped what he was doing to inspect the potential homes of future employees. It appeared as a 1-story straw shack. No matter how Leo looked at it, it was too pathetic to be called a house. Fortunately, the system allowed Leo to upgrade them. Small house level 1. House size 1/5. House quality 0 out of 5. Upgrade 500 years of lifespan. The upgrade cost was cheap. Without hesitation, Leo tested one of them by raising its level to 7. Then, he put 5 points to house quality and 1 to house size. Rumble. The straw shack instantly transformed into a 25 SQM concrete house. It was still 1 story, but the exterior appearance drastically improved. Curious, Leo entered the first house to check the space inside. Then, he had a déjà vu. It seemed that the spatial expansion was a thing for his system. Instead of finding a small 25 SQM studio room house, Leo found a sizable home. Judging from his eyes, Leo estimated that it was about 49 square meters or more. As Leo looked around the house, he noticed something attractive. He saw a small room in the corner. Without hesitation, Leo rushed toward the small room to check it right away. My word! Leo finally found what he had desired the most: a functional modern toilet. Although Leo had one in the store, having one in a private home was a real improvement. Should I move here? Leo was tempted to bring his belongings there to occupy the first house. However, after minutes of contemplation, he shut down the thoughts. It was not the time. There might be a bigger house in the future. After all, this building was called Small House for a reason. I'll wait until I get something worth my time. A mansion, maybe? If possible, my dear Ring, I want a penthouse with glass walls, please. Oh, I also need a swimming pool in my yard, and a large space to park my Rolls-Royce and Bugatti. Leo started having a daydream while he stood in the middle of the empty house. While Leo was absent-minded, Wu Bai knocked on the door and coughed. The former came back to his senses and turned around. Wu Bai's face was as pale as a sheet. He sweated bullets, and bloody saliva seemed to leak from a corner of his mouth. Worrying about Wu Bai, Leo asked him, "What's up? Do you need help? Did you just vomit blood? Master, care to explain what you were doing? This disciple doesn't understand how you created buildings and mystic realm portal out of nothingness cough." Wu Bai's condition was worse than Leo had imagined. Leo pulled an elixir grain pill from his pocket and softly flickered it into the alchemist's mouth. Because Leo controlled his strength, the pill was still intact. However, it slightly grazed the alchemist's uvula, causing him to choke. Fortunately, the medicinal effect soothed him as it boosted his lifespan. Better? Asked Leo. Thank you very much, master. Leo bitterly smiled and looked around, trying to change the subject. He then came up with an idea. I'm building a house for you. Since you'll be studying here for a while, it won't be good if you stay out 24/7. You can bring your belongings here. Oh, the toilet is over there. If you don't know how to use something, just ask me. Wu Bai was taken aback. He looked inside the house and found LED lights and an air conditioner. He also found random small holes in the wall. Leo followed Wu Bai's gaze and found electric outlets. He broke a sweat and warned Wu Bai. If you're not immune to tribulation lightning, do not stick your finger or anything into those holes. They will zap you and you will die. Why yes, master. Wu Bai gulped, but he was tempted to do it. He fervently looked at Leo. I can feel the aura of fire element and tribulation lightning in this building. Can I cultivate here? Leo flinched. He was puzzled about how Wu Bai would cultivate qi from the system's electricity. As Leo didn't know what to answer, he let Wu Bai test it. Suit yourself. Don't get yourself killed. Thank you very much, master. Again, Leo had no idea why Wu Bai seemed so excited. He left him alone in his new house. After Leo left the house, Wu Bai rushed into the house and touched the marble floor tiles. He then inspected the electric outlets and touched the surface of the holes. From Wu Bai's perspective, this place was rich in fire essence, which was hidden behind the outlets. He could also sense the electricity, which was milder than the heavenly tribulation lightning bolts that he had experienced in the past. Can I cultivate the mythical lightning element here? Is this even possible? Wu Bai smacked his chest, preventing himself from having a stroke. Earlier, he almost had a heart attack twice when Leo built the Mystic Realm portal and the third alchemy workshop. And when the first and the third workshop's mannequins began working, he vomited blood for the third time. As Wu Bai was overexcited, he immediately injected his qi into the electric outlet's holes. Then, the electric current followed the qi and reached him. Bzzz. The breaker was immediately switched off, and the house went dark. Wu Bai got a taste of zappy zap. Chapter 67 Florida Man skins his arm to make evening dress for sale. Leo was oblivious to Wu Bai's deed and how he zapped himself. He continued building his little empire. Current lifespan, 17,231 years. Clothing store. Requirement Humble General Store Level 6. Price, 1,000 years of lifespan. Space, 10 by 10. Livestock shed. Requirement Humble General Store Level 7. Price, 1,000 years of lifespan. Space, 10 by 10. Aside from the roads and the decoration items, 2 core structures were buildable. However, Leo hesitated if he should invest in them since his lifespan was low again. He contemplated if he should upgrade the general store first or construct these side job buildings first. The next general store upgrade would cost 7,000 years of lifespan. However, it would unlock the next upgrade and new buildings. On the other hand, Leo didn't want to miss out on the perks of the new structures. As Leo was greedy, he chose to build everything. He put the clothing store building to the west of the general store, designating the area as the shopping district. Rumble. A rundown wooden cabin was erected. It looked similar to the general store when it was at level 1 as it came with a small door and thin showcase glass windows. Leo entered the building and looked around. However, he found a blank building with one wooden mannequin, standing creepily in the dark, staring at Leo. Leo ignored the creepy wooden mannequin. Curious about its feature and functions, Leo touched a wall to summon the building menu. Clothing store level 1. Automaton worker, 0/5. Automaton weaver, 1/5. Weaver skills, 0 out of 5. Store quality, 0 out of 5. Upgrade, 1,000 years of lifespan. Research. Leo read through the description and scratched his head. He felt like it was a waste of lifespan since it could only make clothes. However, the research button reminded him of what the alchemy cauldron could do. He pressed on it, checking its feature and functions. Ding. Please give a clothing design, pattern, or complete sample to the weaver to research. Please noted. After the item has been researched, the automaton weavers will automatically procure materials and weave the clothes for you. Leo had a feeling that the building should be called a tailoring factory instead. Still, as it was named store, he believed that it had a hidden function. Testing things out, Leo upgraded the building to level 7. He put 5 points to weaver skills and 1 point to store quality. Clothing store level 7. Automaton worker, 0/5. Automaton weaver, 1/5. Weaver skills, 5 out of 5, max. Store quality, 1 out of 5. Upgrade, 1,000 years of lifespan. Research, rumble. The store's interior space expanded, but it still looked old. Meanwhile, the weaver automaton transformed into a female mannequin, and it wore a modern-made uniform. It even had a frilly cat ear headband and had movable robotic eyebrows. The maid slightly bowed like a noble lady, greeting Leo without saying anything. Leo stared at the cat ear maid for a moment. Then he frowned at the unusual big knockers. Fake boobs, Leo snorted as he believed that everything was made from wood like her body. The automaton flinched. She turned around and silently sulked in a corner. Seeing the mannequin's reaction, Leo was surprised. He thought that they had no feelings, but this weaver doll seemed to be conscious of her surroundings. He coughed and patted her back. I'm sorry, you're beautiful. I was joking. The doll's head turned around 180 degrees like an Asian ghost. Her eyelens glittered, staring into Leo's eyes. Then, she twisted her body to correct her posture and stand up. Leo was taken aback. This doll seemed to be a fan of horror movies. Still, he didn't hate her. Testing her functions, Leo asked the doll, "What can you do for me?" The doll tilted her head. Then, she pointed at the empty air in front of her. Ding! The store menu appeared in front of Leo. Then, the doll pointed at the research button, gesturing for him to use it. Leo pursed his lips. As he had no experience in fashion sense, he had no idea how to procure a fashion design or a pattern. Ah, right, I can do that. Fortunately, Leo remembered about the online store. He purchased the dress that he used to purchase a couple days ago. At that time, Leo resold them to the girls from Amazonian Sanctuary. He wondered if it could be used as a sample. A cardboard box appeared. Leo unpacked it and pulled out a beautiful evening dress and fluttered it in front of the mannequin. The mannequin girl's eyes shone. She carefully received them and flipped them around. Then, she gave Leo a thumbs up. Ding! You have researched a common evening dress. Your automaton will try to create a better version of this dress. Heh! How cheeky! Leo found the doll amusing and the system. He believed that they might get along well. I think you should take a look at. The next moment, the mannequin did something unbelievable. She transformed her hands into 100 nails. Her arms also shone and produced a vacuum force, absorbing the air around them. The usual radiating light aura around Leo also got sucked into her arms. Leo stood there, watching what the doll would do with his radiation. Whoosh! The arms made a 3D printer noise. The light flickered and glittering white threads slowly came out from her wrists as if she was a Spider-Woman. Then, the threads entered the nail holes, and the mannequin skillfully knotted them. Ha! A minute later, the mannequin produced 10 coils of white-silver sewing threads. However, she kept on absorbing Leo's aura and made more threads. Leo nodded as he started to understand how the store worked. Instead of procuring threads from nature, this robot absorbed his radiation and 3D printed the threads. Then, it would use them to make clothes. As Leo understood how the weaver automaton functioned, he left her alone. He exited the store and was about to build the last structure and call it a day. Creak. However, the mannequin followed Leo. She stood behind him, stealing the endless rainbow aura into her arms. Leo turned around and looked at the mannequin girl. He pursed his lips and patted her head. Well, at least you don't start screaming puta like a creep. If you need my essence, I'll find a way to make some for you. Leo grinned and purchased a glass cup from the online store. Kawak pitu. As usual, Leo spat into the glass and gave it to the automaton. Here, my essence. The automaton flinched and took a step back. She repeatedly shook her head, and she squinted her eyebrows in disgust. What? You don't want it? Again, the mannequin repeatedly shook her head. Then, what do you want? The mannequin was silent for a moment. Then, she stabbed Leo's arm with her nails. Unfortunately, she couldn't penetrate his skin, and one of her nails was broken. Leo silently observed her action. From her behavior, it seemed that she wanted something else. Do you want my blood? Again, the mannequin shook her head. Then, she poked his skin with her nails. Do you want my skin? The mannequin's expression was brightened. She repeatedly nodded and waved her hands around, trying to communicate. However, Leo didn't understand what she meant. Leo scratched his head. He found the doll weird and creepy. Still, he found her demand understandable since his skin might be the toughest hide in the Fallout world. After all, nothing got through his skin for several millennia. This is gonna hurt. Oh well. He looked at his fingernails and found a small hangnail on his pinky finger. He took several deep breaths, preparing his mind. Leo grabbed the hangnail and pulled it with full force. Squawk. Leo bit his lower lip, and his voice muffled in his throat. The hangnail came off along with a layer of skin. It extended from the pinky nail to his palm, and it continued down to his wrist, forearm, and elbow. Fortunately, it stopped there. The starting piece was thin in the beginning. Unfortunately, it got bigger the longer he pulled. After pulling a long piece of his forearm and hand skin, Leo quietly passed it to the mannequin. His mercury-like blood seeped out from the wound, but they instantly regenerated his lost skin. Just like that, Leo's wound was gone. There you go. Don't ask for my skin again. That was damn painful. The mannequin was overjoyed. She happily received the long piece of skin, which endlessly emitted a thick rainbow aura. Her right arm suddenly split, showing the sophisticated 3D printer mechanism inside her. She inserted the skin into her right forearm and closed it. Boom! The same rainbow aura leaked out from the mannequin's forearm. Her printing machine worked faster, and more colorful threads came out from her wrists. Seeing how the threads ceaselessly came out, the mannequin returned to the clothing store building and closed the door behind her. Meanwhile, Leo watched her leave. She didn't even utter a word of appreciation. You're welcome. Leo chuckled and scratched his forearm. The wound was gone, but it was still itchy. Ding. Current lifespan: 10,231 years. With only 10,000 years of lifespan left, Leo deeply sighed. Although he made his decision to build every new building first, he hesitated if he should proceed with it. After thinking it through, Leo chose to postpone the livestock shed project. He returned to the general store and upgraded it to level 8 so that he could take a sneak peek at the next batch of buildings. Leo touched the external wall of the store. He upgraded it to level 8, spending 7,000 years at once. Humble General Store has been upgraded to level 8. New construction options. Rumble. The store transformed again. Instead of a hybrid brickwood building, it became a 2-story brick building. It looked like something from the Renaissance era instead of a shabby wooden house. Leo entered the store and checked the interior. As soon as he entered, he blankly stared at the wide space. It was huge. He could no longer measure the dimension of this place with his eyes anymore. This is not a humble general store. This is a freaking shopping mall. Aside from the wide center area, 20 partitioned rooms occupied the west and east side of the building. Each room consisted of 25 SQM, which was enough for someone to set up a small store there. They also had sufficient electrical outlets and came with a shutter door. Secondly, there was a wooden staircase near the entrance. Leo climbed the stairs to the second floor and found 20 partitioned rooms and another wide area. Looking at the massive shopping mall space, Leo paused and sat on the stairs. His expression was dark. I'm going to develop agoraphobia at this rate. What am I going to do with the wide space? I can't fill everywhere with shelves and goodies. I can't possibly monitor everything when many guests enter the store at once. The development was overwhelming. Leo failed to adapt to the change, and he had a lot of concerns about thieves. After all, he had seen so many shoplifters in shopping malls and supermarkets in the modern world. As a shopkeeper, he feared shoplifters the most. I need securities. Leo's eyes gleamed. He thought of the elders of the Life Sword sect, wondering if he could scam them to work in his store permanently. The more he thought about the elders, the more Leo leaned toward recruiting them. A new project came to his mind. Leo looked at the glass windows from the second floor, gazing at the Mystic Realm portal. He recalled the words of Wu Bai, Han Hao, and Han Meng when they mentioned the Mystic Realms. Quota, is it? Can I permanently hire somebody by offering a ticket to go through my gate? Rather, can I set up a company? No, it should be called a sect or a cult by this world's standards. Should I really make one? Chapter 68. Officials confused as Florida man draws alligator emoticon as his business signature. As Leo had a lot to think about, he called it a day and rested. The next morning, Leo woke up and came out of the shop to perform his routine, cleaning the store and collecting pills. He totally forgot about Wu Bai. When Leo came out, he found Wu Bai kneeling in front of the store. When their eyes met, the latter's expression brightened. Master, you've finally come out. I have something to report. Speak. Leo was bemused, wondering what the alchemist had been doing all night. The house has just lost the chi source. The lightning element chi and the fire chi are gone. I don't know why, but they instantly vanish. Leo frowned. He didn't remember that the system house had a chi source. Still, he strode toward the house to check the mess Wu Bai had made. Upon getting inside, Leo discovered a black electric outlet. From a glance, he could tell that someone short-circuited the electricity, as the trace of a small electric shock was obvious as day. Leo deeply sighed. He walked toward the circuit breaker at the back of the house and flipped the switch on. Bink, bink. The LED light and the air conditioner were turned on. Meanwhile, Wu Bai was in a daze. He gazed at the light and the air conditioner. He deeply inhaled the cold air from the machine and smiled. Master is awesome. How did you restore the chi source? Please teach me, Master. Leo rolled his eyes. He pointed at the black outlet. See that? Wu Bai followed Leo's finger and noticed the black electric outlet. What about it? Svel.Samacronem. Are you a freaking idiot sandwich? I told you not to stick your finger in. What are you, a donkey? Wu Bai was quick. He covered his ears and circulated his chi to protect his eardrums. Still, the voice rocked his balance, and he fell to the floor, getting dizzy. Seeing Wu Bai's condition, Leo lowered his voice and squatted next to him. He pointed at the circuit breaker. Listen here, you wet banana. Next time you ruin your house, check that thing over there. If its lever is down, flip it up and everything will be fine. But if you do that and everything is still broken, it's on you. Okay? Wu Bai repeatedly nodded, even though he barely understood Leo's instructions. He gazed at the breaker unit and wondered what it was for. He also had some questions regarding Leo's strange vocabulary. Master, what's a wet banana? An idiot that deserves 1,000 slaps to the face for his stupidity. Anyway, continue what you've been doing. I have some work to do. Why yes, Master. Leo left Wu Bai alone in his house and visited the 3 alchemy workshops behind the store next. 10 minutes later, Leo stared at the group of mannequins in a daze. He didn't expect to see 3 workshop mannequins coordinate with the warehouse workers. Warehouse level 7. Warehouse automaton level 3/5. Storage size level 4/5. Upgrade 1,000 years of lifespan. As Leo had upgraded the warehouse to level 7, he added 2 more workers to help sort and collect resources. However, he didn't know that they had other functions. The alchemist bots automatically collected the pills and put them in the warehouse. Afterward, the warehouse workers learned about the pills and coordinated with the workshop mannequin, fetching pill ingredients from the granary for them. In addition, the warehouse mannequins were nimble. They jumped and ran like characters from Naruto, traveling back and forth between the granary, warehouse, workshop, and farms. Leo even noticed that one of the warehouse mannequins helped the farm automaton harvest a potato. Then, it carried the massive unit into the granary. In short, these warehouse workers ran around, providing logistic assistance to the other mannequins. Leo's mood was lifted. He was glad that he no longer had to manually collect or make new pills on his own. With this, he could just sleep at home all day and let the mannequin slaves do the daily chore for him. Unfortunately, not all good things came without flaws. There was an issue with the alchemist mannequins. As Leo didn't update his instructions, they continued making the same pills over and over again. The first workshop focused on Yang Flame Dawn. The second workshop hadn't finished making the Hope and Dream pills. As for the newest workshop, it ceaselessly produced Rejuvenate tea. Products that required hours to make were not an issue. The ones that took less time to make was the headache-inducing one. As the Rejuvenate tea required containers to collect, the mannequins used whatever they could find to store them. As a result, they were in a mess. The earth jar that Leo always used to store freshwater was filled with tea and freshwater. Cat's bucket of mutated water was also used. A massive trash bin, which contained spirit stones and essence stones, was brought out from the warehouse, and they were half filled with the tea while some of the stones were still inside. In short, the tea was wasted. Only Cat could drink it, but Leo doubted that she would. Hiya! Leo regretted that he didn't prepare enough glass bottles or a proper barrel for the juice. He purchased a few empty barrels from the online store. He then ordered the mannequin for the third workshop. Next time, store the tea in here. Don't bother using another container. Okay? If you run out of containers, come find me. The mannequin looked at Leo's face for a moment and nodded. It returned its attention to the cauldron, continuing refining the tea. After giving out his order, Leo gazed at the mess. He carried the bucket of mutated water and brought them to the old outhouse near the Sword St. Boulder. He poured the content in there. Leo also did the same to the earth jar of freshwater as it couldn't be used anymore. As for the trash bins, Leo spent a long time sorting the essence stones out of the containers. Took him hours to finish cleaning up the mess. At late noon, Leo's stomach grumbled. Leo forgot about breakfast, and he realized that he hadn't eaten anything yet. He stopped what he was doing and returned to the store, hoping to grab some bananas to eat. I think you should take a look at. Stepping into the store and experiencing the distorted space again, Leo flinched. He couldn't get used to the weird space distortion of this place, no matter how many times he entered or left the building. Going back to fetch food from the store was also a hurdle as the fridges were still at the center of the building. Walking 100 meters, Leo reached the center of the store, where the fridges and shelves were gathered here. Leo grabbed a few golden sand bananas and ate them as usual. While eating, Leo gazed at the large empty space. He still couldn't figure out what to do with it. Moreover, the partitioned rooms on the west and east stood out like a sore thumb. By looking at it, Leo wished that he could get someone to open some shops here so that he could collect rent. Just as Leo thought of Hua Jiashen and the elders, one of them returned to the store. Tiger Swordsman led the Magpie City's representative and local merchants here to establish a trade deal with Leo. Tiger Swordsman knocked on the store's front door. Then he opened it. "Senior Florida man, as promised, I've brought you." Holy Buddha! The burly cultivator was taken aback when he saw the massive space in the building. He immediately took several steps back to check the two-story building from outside. Then he shoved his head inside, peeking and checking the interior. Tiger Swordsman wasn't the only one with this reaction. The merchant representatives were also shocked as they peeked into the store through the windows from outside. They saw how big and wide the building was, and they couldn't help but rub their eyes. Leo noticed their reactions. He chuckled and waved his hand, inviting them in. He could have gone out to receive them, but he was too lazy to walk. Tiger Swordsman noticed the gesture. He invited the people in. 5 commoners behind him nodded and followed the cultivator into the building. As Leo was being lazy, he put the usual sacred wood blocks for them to sit on. He could have purchased proper chairs from the online store, but he always forgot about it. Everybody got to their seat. They nervously gazed at Leo, who was still chewing a banana in his hand. Tiger Swordsman also noticed that Leo was eating a rare golden sand banana. The corners of his mouth twitched. No sane cultivator ate a raw vegetable or fruit from mystic realms, as the residual element chi in the fruit or vegetable would have killed them from the inside. However, Leo seemed to be unaffected by the food. "My apologies that I can't serve you tea today. One of my workers is too new on the job and he messed up a few gallons of tea." Leo patted his hand and glanced at the banana peel on his lap. He shrugged and put it in his mouth, eating them as well. After all, every part of mutated fruits and veggies gives him life force. The expressions of the crowd were complicated. The merchants and the city representatives looked at Tiger Swordsman, questioning him with their eyes if the man was sane. Tiger Swordsman coughed and got to the point. "Ahem. Senior. We would like to discuss the deal we talked about yesterday. I talked to the locals and they agree to sell you vegetables and fruits. However, they need an advanced payment since it's a long-term deal." One of the merchants stood up and cupped his fist. He added, "Although our status is inferior to cultivators, we need some insurance that you will not take advantage of us, commoners. If we offend you, please forgive us." Leo nodded. He had seen this type of deal in the modern world before, and advanced payment wasn't something new to him. "How much do you need for the advanced payment?" The merchants looked at each other. They slightly nodded as they had discussed this before they came here. 1 spirit stone per month per merchant firm, senior. That will be a total of 5 spirit stones. After we receive the payment, we will deliver our goods here every first day of the week." "How much will I get?" Leo didn't bother looking at them. He stood up and picked another banana from the showcase refrigerator. Then he ate the tip of it without peeling it. The crowd gulped as they were taken aback by Leo's weird sense of food. The city representative spoke next. "10 stones of vegetables and fruits for me, senior." Another merchant nervously stated his offer. 7 no, 8 stones for me. 8 for me too. 10 here, senior." I can only do 7. Leo quietly looked at the people. Then he gazed at Tiger Swordsman, wanting to ask him how much one stone of fruits was. However, Leo's facial skin wasn't thick, so he didn't reveal that he had no idea what they were talking about. Since spirit stones were easy to find, Leo readily agreed. All right, 5 spirit stones for those. Where do I sign? The merchants and the city representative were delighted. They brought out their contract papers for Leo to sign. Unfortunately, this world still relied on brushes and ancient inkstones. They started grinding inkstones to make ink for Leo to write. One of them also asked him, "Senior, do you have a seal stamp? We can use stamps too." Stamps? Yes, Senior. If you have a stamp that can represent your clan or lineage, you can use it instead of signing. Leo stroked his beard and frowned. As he was not a noble from the local kingdom, he was already disqualified from using the stamp thingy. I'll write my name. All right, Senior. The group finished preparing the ink and brushes for Leo. The latter quietly rolled his robe sleeves and gracefully picked a brush. He gently dipped the tip in the ink container. Meanwhile, Leo's mind screamed in panic. It was his first time writing his name in Chinese. Even though he had learned the characters from the system, he was still nervous. As Leo's brain was frozen in panic, his muscle memory kicked in. Instead of writing his name properly, his arm and hand automatically moved, treating the paper as if it was something he could draw a picture on. Leo skillfully drew a smiling alligator head on the signature area. Everybody, Leo didn't finish there. He then spelled his Taoist title underneath in Chinese. Everybody looked at the characters and pronounced them in unison. Fuluolita. It's Florida. Leo facepalmed. Chapter 69. Elderly men interested in Florida man's balls. Survey said. After signing the deal, the merchants and the city representatives returned home happy. They got their spirit stones, which could be exchanged for their local currency later. Tiger Swordsman remained behind as Leo asked him to stay. When the crowd left, Leo proceeded with his agenda. He consulted the elder. I'm planning to create a new sect. What do I need to do? Is there a custom around here? Or do I have to acquire a license somewhere? Tiger Swordsman was astonished. Still, he was glad that Leo consulted with him first. He honestly revealed the process. Usually, sects and cults are built on top of a cultivation resource or chi sources, such as the MT Claymore of Life Sword sect. Although the natural chi is faint, it's enough for others to cultivate and gain strength. If you wish to build a sect, you must secure a place for disciples and elders to cultivate first. Leo nodded and rubbed his chin. He got a general idea. While he listened, he glanced at the shop domain menu and looked at the new building list. Livestock shed. Requirement: humble general store level 7. Price: 1,000 years of lifespan. Space: 10 by 10. Parking lot. Requirement: humble general store level 8. Price: 1,000 years of lifespan. Space: 30 by 30. Warehouse. 2. Requirement: humble general store level 8. Price: 500 years of lifespan. Space: 5 by 5. Granary. 2. Requirement: humble general store level 8. Price: 500 years of lifespan. Space: 5 by 5. Employee apartment. Requirement: humble general store level 8. Price: 10,000 years of lifespan. Space: 20 by 50. Domain expansion. Requirement: humble general store level 8. Price: 10,000 years of lifespan. Expansion range: 100 by 100. Everything seemed irrelevant to the chi source as most of the buildings were related to modern structures. Even the parking lot seemed useless. Fortunately, Wu Bai used to mention fire chi and lightning chi in the house. Leo wondered if the modern houses and apartments could be used as a chi source for disciples and elders to use. Testing his theory, Leo invited Tiger Swordsman. Can you come with me for a moment? I need to show you something. All right, Senior. Lead the way. Both men exited the store. Then, Leo guided the elder to the small house, next to Wu Bai's home. He opened the door and invited the swordsman in. Tiger Swordsman entered the modern home. He looked around in astonishment as he had never seen a house without an open window. As the air conditioner worked 24/7 there was no need to open a window to let the air flow. It seems stuffy, Tiger Swordsman remarked. What is this place, Senior? A house. A house. People live here. Why? Is it inappropriate or unusual? Tiger Swordsman gulped. He deeply inhaled and revealed his thoughts. I don't think anyone should be living here. This is a place for someone with a high status, such as a sect master or an important guest to stay. I can feel intense fire chi and an unknown element chi here. It feels like heavenly tribulation's lightning bolts. So I believe this might be the legendary lightning element chi. Tiger Swordsman seemed excited. Unlike Wu Bai, he only glanced at the electrical outlets and the circuit breaker. He didn't seem like he wanted to poke his finger or something into the holes. Leo continued to probe for information. If I let people gather around the house, can they cultivate fire chi? Tiger Swordsman pondered. He exited the house and stood in front of it. A minute later, he shook his head. It's unfortunate. I don't think anybody can cultivate the chi from outside. I see. Leo learned something useful. He believed that the new building apartment might also be the same. If that was the case, Leo could solve the chi source issue, and he could openly solicit people from Life Sword Sect to join him. Still, there was one hurdle. Leo was short of lifespan once again. Although Leo was short on lifespan, he had plenty of ideas on how to make some. He ordered Tiger Swordsman to wait there, and he went to the warehouse to fetch some essence stones. After packing 100 stones in a leather bag, Leo gave them to Tiger Swordsman. The elder received the leather bag and looked inside. Upon seeing the essence stones, he was shocked. Senior, this? Leo mischievously grinned and whispered, do me a favor. Bring those essence stones to the royal court or the imperial court whatsoever. I want you to report to the emperor that I'm hoarding countless essence stones with me, and I have a way to procure them. Can you do it? What? But why? Tiger Swordsman was taken aback. He was confused about why Leo wanted to provoke the imperial court. That I think you should take a look at. Don't ask why. Please do what I said. I need to get their attention. If they are aware of my existence, they might send people to visit my store and become my customers. If they buy my products, you will also get some commission from me. It's a win-win, right? Tiger Swordsman hesitated. He wasn't convinced that it was the right approach. Still, as Leo seemed to be confident in his abilities and strength, he agreed. All right, please be careful, Senior. Those guys are overbearing and arrogant. They might come to extort taxes from you. Leo brightly smiled. That's even better. Let them come. The elder was speechless. He quietly stored the leather bag and excused himself, returning to the sect to spread words. He would also inform the other elders that Leo wished to establish a new sect. After Tiger Swordsman was gone, Leo turned his attention to his store. He cracked his knuckles. This is going to be a long day. I'm going to rearrange the shelves and the fridges into the booths. Right, I should designate one of them as my personal store. As for the rest, I can let my future workers or those elders rent the place. Of course, they will have to pay me with their lifespan. It had been a day since Chang Yuanji and Ouyang Feng escaped from Leo's grasp. They reached Phoenix City. When they arrived, the clansmen spotted them and rushed to help their young lord. Young Master Ouyang? Who did this to you? Ouyang Feng still hadn't recovered from Leo's sound attack. He couldn't even stand on his own even though Chang Yuanji fed him several healing pills. Upon arrival, he fainted. Chang Yuanji's condition was a lot better as he had a superior cultivation base. Still, he was still dizzy, and he had been suffering from a high fever. As soon as he saw the people of the Ouyang clan, he collapsed on the ground and passed out. Half a day later, Chang Yuanji recovered. He opened his eyes and saw a ceiling of a wooden building. He rolled his eyes to look around. Ah, you're up. Chang Yuanji heard an old man's voice. He pushed his body to sit up, but his head was so heavy that he couldn't lift it up. He fell back on the pillow. Take it easy. I know you're injured. Ouyang Ku had been sitting on a chair next to Chang Yuanji's bed. He turned around and picked a medicinal tea from a table and served it to the elder. Chang Yuanji gratefully accepted the tea. Upon smelling the pleasant odor, his head felt a lot lighter. He managed to sit up and took a sip of the herbal tea. Tell me, Ouyang Ku deeply sighed. What happened to my grandchild? Who did it? Chang Yuanji didn't hide anything. He revealed the incident that they had gone through. After listening to Chang Yuanji's tale, Ouyang Ku's expression was dark. I'm afraid you ran into the murderer of Ouyang Long. Obviously, you're not his opponent. Who is he, Grand Elder? He concocted immortal pills and endured green lightning tribulation, yet he was strong enough to take on Situ clan's killing formation head-on. He must be a famous expert, right? Ouyang Ku snorted. Famous, my ass? He's just an upstart rogue cultivator. I bet he's just a quasi-immortal that has just come up from a long seclusion. Since he killed Situ Luan, those undying mummies from the Situ clan won't leave him alone. In fact, I bet the imperial court must have heard about him by now since the Fatui cult has a deep connection with the third prince. Oyanku stood up and looked outside the window. He thought of his rival Situ Nantion. He wondered why that quasi-immortal had been so quiet. Say, Yuanji. Yes, senior. You saw Situ Luan there, right? Have you seen the other people from the Situ clan? After Oyanku reminded him, Chang Yuanji recalled that the people from Situ clan didn't directly join the siege. Instead, they lurked in the forest and in the Magpie City, hiding under Hua Jishan's nose. From the perspective of the Ouyang clan and Situ clan, the Life Sword sect was a small sect that wasn't worth mentioning. It was a lot weaker than its rival, the Death Sword sect, which gathered many soul transformation cultivators on their side. On the other hand, Life Sword sect only had a dozen nascent soul cultivators and Hua Jishan, who was the sole soul formation cultivator that had been protecting the sect for centuries. A 500-year-old soul formation cultivator was trash and talentless. Everybody branded Hua Jishan as a weakling. I spotted a few in the forest, but no one made their move. I think they also retreated. I see. Well, just rest. We'll handle this matter later. Oyanku nodded. He then stood up to leave the room. But before Oyanku left, he remembered something. Oh, by the way. Yes, senior. Never attack a stronger cultivator regardless of the situation. A wounded tiger is still a tiger. Haven't you learned that? I'm sorry, sir. Oyanku quietly left. Meanwhile, Chang Yuanji was relieved. He continued sipping the herbal tea. It was delicious, strangely delicious. Chang Yuanji felt like he had never drunk anything like this before. It was also weirdly mellow, and he felt like something inside him slowly vanished. Chang Yuanji's consciousness slowly faded. He felt so sleepy for an unknown reason. A few seconds later, he fell asleep. Forever. Svel.Samacronem after poisoning Chang Yuanji. Ouyangku stood in front of the room, scoffing at the incompetency of Ouyang Feng's master. Although his action might offend the Death Sword sect, he had 1,000 explanations to tell their elders. After all, who in the right mind brought his treasured grandchild into a dangerous place? If he was stupid enough to allow Ouyang Feng to fight a stronger foe, he should have his intelligence reevaluated. Damn idiot. He almost killed Fenger. Ouyangku gestured for his subordinates to clean the corpse. Then, he returned to his residence to visit his grandson. The Ouyang clan wasn't the only one that had survived the ordeal. Many people of the Situ clan had also witnessed the fight, and they managed to gauge Liu's strength. Situ clan spies returned to the clan and reported to their masters. The quasi-immortal Situ Nantion also received intel from the Magpie City that Hua Jishan had a relationship with the mysterious alchemist. In Situ Nantion's house, the elderly man meditated and pinched his fingers. He mumbled to himself as if he had been communicating with someone far away. What do you mean by Florida? What is that Tao? You don't know? Huh? An elder of the Life Sword sect has exchanged an essence core for a high-grade flying sword in the black market. Where the hell did he get that? Wait, are you sure? Situ Nantion opened his eyes as he received many interesting pieces of information. He wanted to visit Liu right away. However, he couldn't go there as he had to prepare for this season's Mystic Realm expedition. TSK. How annoying. I'll go there myself after the expedition. Chapter 70 Senator summons Florida man for hearing about his balls. Magpie City. The city was under the jurisdiction of the Life Sword sect. Commoners of the city always sent their children to take the sect's aptitude tests, hoping to raise their family status. In addition, the sect had a good reputation among commoners as they never imposed taxes on them. Instead, they accepted requests from commoners and provided protection to the local merchants as their primary job. Although the sect was popular among commoners, their financial status was inferior to other orthodox sects and unorthodox sections. Because of that, they lacked cultivation resources and pills to employ deacons or invite strong cultivators to join them. With fewer resources, their disciples' progress was also slower than the others in their peers. However, things changed after Liu appeared. The disciples acquired rare pills while many elders purchased essence cores from Liu. With the new resources, their cultivation progress skyrocketed. Most of the disciples, deacons, and elders shut themselves in their abodes, cultivating in frenzy. Hua Jishan, Han Hao, and Han Meng were also the same. They used whatever they got from Liu to cultivate. As such, the number of protectors and patrolling cultivators in the city dwindled. This allowed spies and cultivators from other sects and clans to infiltrate the city. Everybody used their organization's secret artifact to hide their presence and chi while they lurked in the city. In an alley, a group of 3 hooded golden core cultivators stood in front of a local middle-aged merchant. They paid him a bag of gold coins for the information. Thank you, sir. See, can I leave? Go. One of the cultivators chased the merchant away. The merchant ran away with the bag of gold coins. He widely grinned as his financial issue would be solved for the rest of his life. The cultivators looked at each other. They were baffled by the intel that they had just gathered. This group belonged to the Fatui cult. They were the backup forces that came with Situ Luan. However, after their master's death, they lurked in the city, gathering information for their cult. That Florida man is commissioning the local to bring him food? The captain of the group corrected his subordinate. More like, he is gathering resources. If he needs food, he would have requested meat or live animals. But vegetables and fruits? The spies from Situ clan said that Florida man might be a quasi-immortal. If that's the case, it explains everything. Any quasi-immortal can convert regular fruits and vegetables into precious herbs and alchemy materials. Since Florida man is an alchemist, it makes a lot of sense to me. Everybody nodded in agreement. They took notes and disappeared into the shadow, leaving the city with the information. Their cult would receive this intelligence at night. These people weren't the only ones with the information. As Leo openly commissioned the merchants, the local farmers and travelers heard of it and spread the rumor. Svel.Siamacron. Although the center of attention was on Leo and his actions, many spies noticed irregular activities of the Life Sword Sect's elders, as one of them visited the black market in the slum outside the city wall, north of Magpie City. As the black market ran by money, it was easy for spies to acquire information. Everybody soon realized that someone sold a unique contraband item, Essence Stone, to the unauthorized auction house. Agents from major sects and clans swarmed the auction house to confirm the information. Then, they learned that an elder from Life Sword Sect sneaked the item here and exchanged an Essence Stone for a high-grade flying sword, which was publicly sold in the market for 100 million spirit stones. The news traveled fast as cultivators had the means to deliver information to their organizations. Within 24 hours, the news reached the ears of the imperial officials. The Yen Empire had been governing the mainland for 500 years, ever since the last Sweet Dream Mushroom incident. The Yen clan took over the imperial court after the mushroom zombie apocalypse, while the Situ clan cleaned up their mess. Although the Yen Empire was the ruler of all cultivators on the mainland, not all families were fond of them. The Situ clan was one of them, as they still held a grudge that the Yen clan took advantage of their ancestors 500 years ago and usurped the throne. Currently, Yen Xiong was the emperor of Yen. He was a quasi-immortal, and he was famous for his talent in cultivation and combat. Ever since he had advanced to the quasi-immortal stage, he had never been defeated in a fight. At Cauliflower City Palace, Yen Xiong sat on the throne, skimming through the scrolls of his subordinates. They were the daily reports of the imperial court, which informed him of the surrounding events around the mainland. Yen Xiong wore gold dragon robes and an emperor crown. His throne and tables were made of pure gold, but they ceaselessly emitted yang element essence, which was one of the rare elements that no cultivator could cultivate. The emperor was 650 years old, yet his appearance looked the same as a teenager's, as he didn't have a string of beard or mustache. He also wore a pair of eyeglasses even though he could see everything clearly. His spotless white jade skin never touched the sunlight, and his physique was average, as if he had never worked out before. His long black hair was hidden under the crown. While the emperor was busy reading the reports, 1,000 soul transformation cultivators and soul formation cultivators, dressing as court officials, stood still and lowered their heads in the wide throne room. They waited for their lord to finish examining their jobs. Among the crowd, representatives of the Jianghu Alliance were present, except the representative from the Ouyang clan. 3 alchemy sects, the World Tree sect, the Sixth Element sect, and the Pill Union sent their elders to attend as well. Even Death Sword sect, Fatui cult, and all unorthodox sects participated in the meeting, as these organizations belonged to Yen Xiong's sons. Everybody was quiet. Only the sound of Yen Xiong's movements and his scroll were audible in the hall. 2 hours later, Yen Xiong finished reading all of the scrolls. He rolled them and put them on the floor, allowing the eunuchs behind him to tidy the place. I have a question, Chancellor Tang. What is Florida? Chancellor Tang was a thin, elderly man, whose gentle, smiling face never faded. He looked like a kind grandpa that every child loved. He had short white hair, white eyebrows, and purple pupils, but no beard. The representatives from the Situ clan flinched. They were the ones who sent the report about a mysterious figure by the Taoist name Florida Man. One of the Situ clansmen stepped out of the crowd and stood in the middle of the throne room, presenting himself on the red carpet. He deeply bowed while he cupped his fist. "It's a new Tao, Your Majesty." This term appears along with the mysterious rogue cultivator that calls himself Florida Man. He shows up near Magpie City of the Life Sword Sect. All right. Is the representative from the Life Sword Sect present? Nobody uttered a word, as Life Sword Sect never sent their representative here. Rather, they didn't know that the Emperor demanded one of them there. The crowd sweated profusely. Most of the sects and clans here excommunicated small and weak sects so that the allocable resources from the imperial court would never reach them. Then, their annual share would be naturally increased as a result as long as they contributed something to the court. I think you should take a look at. The Emperor leaned back and picked up a cup of tea. Coincidentally, it was also pinnacle-grade Rejuvenate tea, which the Tang clan specially concocted for the Emperor. After sipping the tea, Yen Xiong looked around the room. He frowned. "You know what's funny? This is the first time I heard about Life Sword Sect. I know about the Sword Saints' deeds, but I thought their successors found the Death Sword Sect. So tell me, people, why haven't I heard about this sect before?" Everybody was drenched in sweat, especially the people from the Jianghu Alliance. Some of them clattered their teeth as they were afraid of the punishment for their misdeeds. The Emperor glared at them. "I thought I ordered the Jianghu Alliance to gather every representative from all sects in the mainland here so that we can communicate better. In exchange for their trouble, I'll allocate essence stones and spirit stones to their sects and make an exception about the essence stone contraband. If they aren't here, I can't question them when something happens in their territory, can I? They also can't get their hands on our cultivation resources. So, why aren't their representative here?" Being pressed on something unspeakable, nobody dared to utter a word. Yen Xiong was not a pushover. He narrowed his eyes as he saw through his subordinates' political schemes. He purposely intensified his murderous aura. Facing the quasi-immortal's killing intent, everybody prostrated to the floor and slammed their foreheads to the ground. "Please quell your anger, Your Majesty. Anger deteriorates your health, Your Majesty. Please calm down." Yen Xiong was calm, but he hated hypocrite underlings. He bellowed, "You imbeciles! I asked you why they aren't here." The 1,000 people in the hall vomited blood. Fortunately, these officials and representatives were strong, and they managed to endure the Emperor's pressure. On the other hand, Chancellor Tang was also a quasi-immortal. He didn't feel anything from the pressure, but he lowered his head to Yen Xiong. "If I remember correctly, the Magpie City is located in the southern region, close to the Factory Cult and Death Sword Sect. It takes only half a day to travel from Cauliflower City to Magpie City. I think they might be suppressed by the neighbors, and they haven't received any help from us. It has been 500 years. Yen Xiong stood up and threw his teacup at the representative from the Factory Cult. The glass broke, and the blood came out from the elder's head. However, the cultist, who no longer wore cone-shaped headwear, didn't raise his head. 500 years. They have been isolated for 500 years. From the first day that our kingdom was founded, my ancestors stressed that every sect and cult, regardless of practices and culture, must be treated equally. We forbid every cultivator from accessing essence stones so that we can allocate them equally to all clans and sections. Then you can have healthy competition. The side that outperforms the others can get a high status in the court." "And what is this?" Yen Xiong stomped and raised his hand. One of the Factory Cult's elders and Death Sword Sect's elders floated in the air as their necks were squeezed and raised by invisible hands. "Explain. Why haven't I heard of the Life Sword Sect before?" "Ugh. Help." Nobody bothered raising their heads to answer. Even the colleagues of the suffering elders didn't dare to speak. However, a young man in gold robes in the crowd suddenly stood up. He gazed at his father. "Father, this is my fault. I ordered them not to inform you." "You!" The speaker was the third prince, Yen Zhu. He was known as the patron of the Factory Cult. This year, he was 150 years old, and his cultivation base was in the soul transformation stage. Yen Zhu explained to his father, "These days, pretentious small sects emerge everywhere. Just because they call themselves a sect doesn't mean we should acknowledge them as a cultivator organization. Some of them use the name as a cover to exploit people or take advantage of the commoners. Because of that, I ordered the Factory Cult and Death Sword Sect not to include small sects in the official sections." Unless they can produce a soul transformation cultivator, their organizations remain unofficial. Yan Xiang wasn't happy with his son. He clicked his tongue. And let the big cults and sects monopolize my essence stones? How about I cut the supplies from your sects for 500 years? I bet your cult will instantly be disbanded. Hearing that Yan Xiang would cut the supplies to Factory cult, Yan Zhu clapped his hands and dispelled his father's power, allowing the two representatives to fall to the ground and breathe. The two tortured men gave Yan Zhu a grateful look. They coughed and continued lowering their heads as usual. Yan Zhu tried to convince Yan Xiang with a new report that he hadn't told his father yet. Father, my stance on the small sects and cults remains unchanged. Besides, do you know that Life Sword sect has illegally smuggled essence stones from a new source and exploited them? What? Yan Xiang raised his brow. He thought that all essence stones on the mainland came from the 5 mystic realm gates, which belonged to the court. He was surprised to hear about a new source. Where did they get the essence stones? Yan Zhu smirked. He reminded his father about the primary issue. Florida man. Remember what you asked? What Florida is might actually be a place or a Tao that relates to the essence stones. Life Sword sect might know something about it, but they are keeping it a secret. Yan Xiang still didn't believe in his cunning son. He glared at him. What's the proof? What if you just blatantly accuse them to protect your cult? Yan Zhu then volunteered. Pass me an order, father. Allow the Factory cult and my personal army to move. We'll pay Magpie City a visit and face the Life Sword sect head-on. We'll question them personally about where they get the essence stones and who Florida man really is. The emperor snorted. He knew what his son cooked from a mile away. At this rate, Yan Zhu would annihilate the Life Sword sect and kill Florida man, making them a scapegoat for the unproved crime. To prevent such an unfair activity, Yan Xiang glanced at the representative of the Pill Union and Chancellor Tang. He ordered them, you two go along with that brat. Chancellor Tang, I give you permission. Accompany them and investigate everybody thoroughly, and I mean everybody. You may punish anyone, including my kin if they deserve it. I'm allowing you to use your judgment. Yan Zhu's expression turned dark while Chancellor Tang glanced at the third prince. The latter's smile widened as he bowed. By your will, your majesty.